sword builds as of the new dungeon coming out are now overpowered. I'm going to show you exactly why. But before I do that, be sure to join my Discord. We run giveaways there all the time. So I'm going to show you the current build and what I'm using real quick. And while I play through the dungeon, I'll explain all because not enough people know about this honestly just busted sword. So it's called the Conqueror's Blade. You get it from Angel's Sanctuary. And as you can see, that is 40,000 damage on this, like completely maxed 40k damage. That's insane. Now you're gonna see these damage numbers. Right now I'm using 122% sword damage and a health one just to kind of like balance it out a little bit. Now you could like go full sword or you could go like full health. Honestly, I'm leaning more towards like putting 2 like health ones on because the damage on this sword is already like crazy, but you could get a little fancy with it. I'm also using Angel. So just look at these damage numbers. Like 1,000, right? You're not seeing that it's doing 147,000 per M1. That's crazy. That's actually insane to hit for like 150,000, and I'm not even like maxing this out. Like if you look at my skill points, it's split right now. It's not even full sword, and I don't even have the best sword relic, nor am I using 2 of them. This isn't even as good as it can get. And this sword is actually slightly less upgrades. You can see it's 2,200 below what it could be. And it is still hitting for 150,000. That's insane. And I'm going to talk about it more in the Angel Sanctuary dungeon. Also, real quick, before I load in, remember, this is the most rare because 0.003 is more rare than 0.01. I've seen some people mess that up. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have some damage reduction type of element because like where it does deal a lot of damage, you are very vulnerable when you have to go up to hit them. Like when I'm not in Midas like this, these sword guys with the shield, they always can hit me before I can hit them, like almost every single time. When I'm Midas, I can usually get in and hit them when they can't, and just on top of the damage reduction because obviously everybody knows with swords, like you're just going to get hit. That is going to happen. So having an element that reduces damage is almost necessary for this, because if not, you're just going to get chipped and you'll eventually die, even if you are doing like crazy damage. In which you are doing crazy damage. I'm on medium right now. I can almost go on to hard actually, but even on hard, you're still going to one tap doing 150,000 like per tick. Like my corrupted elements that I have don't do that much per M1. Now, obviously the swords don't have abilities like corrupted elements do, which is of course a drawback. But the raw damage numbers on this thing is insane. And I'm not saying like all sword builds are now up. It's really just these swords that are so strong. So yeah. See now that like when I'm out of my Midas form, you can see like when I go to like hit him. Oh, well, he shielded immediately. He's scared of me. Okay, shielded. He's really scared of me. Okay. Yeah, you can see like even though I'm spamming, he'll always get that first hit in on me. But not when I'm like in Midas. So it doesn't have to be Angel either. I think Angel is just the most accessible one. But at the minimum, having like an element with damage reduction will be very necessary for this. Another thing that I was thinking about is you don't get that much of a bonus from putting a bunch of points into like sword. Like you really don't go up that much. So you could stack a lot of your points into like health and element and then flex between like using an element and then also using sword. So like maybe use Phantom with like max element and then like swords as well. I think that would be very strong. Now, I'm not really sure if this is going to be meta. I think that that's going to be more determined by how it performs in raids, which since these are not my swords, I don't have 2 of them yet. I just had 1. I'm actually borrowing someone else's. Shout out to Nanito. But since they're not my swords, I'm not going to be able to really extensively test how they do in raids. So I'll be waiting to see that. Really excited for that. But because in raids, you imagine that you'll be more punished for things like this. But if you say you have like a couple people with this build playing Angel, you'll all be healing each other at the same time. Like this boss can't kill me because 1, he can't get through my health. The damage reduction is just too strong. Well, I have Midas up, it's just too strong. And 2, I can just heal myself with like heal blast and then bubble and then we're all good. So if you have a bunch of angels like stacking, like look at that. I ripped through his health before he could even go into his second phase. That's how fast I could kill him. Like how much damage it does. Like I could just tear through his health. Now, real quick, before I wrap it up, I'm going to show you exactly how much putting sword powers into, like putting a points into sword power affect it, and how much it affects your element power as well, because I think that's really important. So I'm going to refund again. I've already wasted 2, but okay. So it's at 1. I hit for, okay. Well, I think 1 critted. So I hit for 146,000. Before, I think I was hitting for 147 with 200 in. As you can see, it's such like a minuscule difference, but hold on. So 100 sword power. Yeah, it's a minuscule difference. Now I can't really test the element power all that well, can I? I mean, there's heal blast 106. Okay, let's put 100 in. Yeah. See how it went from 106 to 4,300? It just scales way harder to element. So I think it might, in my opinion, it might just be better to max out element, put like just a little into sword, maybe some into defense as well if you're getting kind of silly. But it, you know, and then just run that, honestly. So yeah, to wrap it up, sword builds with like angel would go pretty good if you wanted to run that more like Healy type of thing and just be a real tank and like have a bunch of angels. I think that could work, but I also think you could go the route where you do more like a phantom, where you know you've got all that element output as well as the sword. I think that those damage numbers could get insane, like phantom and these dual swords. But not, it's going to be way easier for people to get their hands on like angel and stuff than it is phantom. So, but I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that these swords exist. Obviously not these ones, these are just the cosmetics, but the swords exist and they're really good. And sword builds are actually not only viable, but kind of overpowered now. Before I end, did a little more research. I think dual swords and phantom are the best. Like, I think that's the best build at the moment.